Good morning, I'm Paolo del Rosario. Welcome to WeatherHQ. In today's headlines, before our weather, our breaking news first. The Presidential Security Group is on red alert following Vice President Sara Duterte's supposed threat on the life of President Marcos if any plot against her succeeds. PSG scrutinizes all vehicles entering Malacanang. Moving on, November is National Rice Awareness Month. I'll speak with the Samahan Industriya ng Agrikultura later on in the show. And Storm Bert batters the United Kingdom and Ireland with snow, rain, and strong winds, killing one person and closing several railway lines, bridges, and roads. Well, let's take a look at the local weather today. Two dominant weather systems are affecting the country. First is the northeast monsoon that affects the extreme northern part of Luzon. As you can see over here, particularly the areas affected will be Batanes, Cagayan, and Apayao. And meanwhile, residents in these areas will experience cloudy skies with rains. They are advised to take precautionary measures as flash floods or landslides are possible due to moderate to at times heavy rains. Meanwhile, in the south, residents in Mindanao will experience cloudy skies and scattered rainstorms and as well rain and thunderstorms due to the intertropical convergence zone. Now, keep in mind, the ITCZ happens when winds from both northern and southern hemispheres meet. Now, when the convergence area is saturated, warm, moist air ascends, now cools down, and also condenses and results in precipitation. Now, for those living in the flood-prone areas, please be prepared for flash floods or landslides due to moderate to at times heavy rains brought by the ITCZ. Now, here in Metro Manila and for the rest of the country, though, you can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers due to the localized thunderstorms that are possible in the afternoon or evening. Now, let's take a look at our sea conditions. No gale warning is up, but mariners in extreme northern Luzon are advised to take precautionary measures as they will experience rough sea conditions from time to time, as you can see here. For the coastal waters of the western part of Luzon, expect moderate to rough sea conditions. For the rest of the country, light to moderate waves are expected. So it is safe to go out there to sea, for seafarers out there especially. Now let's take a look at the weather conditions in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, starting up north in Luzon. Now, as mentioned earlier, due to the northeast monsoon, Batanes, Cagayan, and Apayao will have cloudy skies with rain showers. But in most parts of the region rather, the sun will continue to show up, particularly in Alawag, in Tuguegarao, Metro Manila, Baguio, and so on, as well as Tagaytay and Legazpi. Now, despite the sun, temperature in Baguio is still going to be a really cool 15 to 24 degrees. Again, as typical in the region, Baguio is the coolest. And you take a look at Legazpi, though, and Metro Manila, quite the opposite. A bit hot there. It may reach around 32 degrees Celsius, especially here in Metro Manila and down here in Legazpi, as we can see the overview here. Puerto Princesa, a bit hotter with 33 degrees Celsius being the high in that area. So anyone in those areas, please make sure you stay cool, especially with the high of 33 degrees in Puerto Princesa. Moving down to the Visayas, the whole of the Visayas region will also experience warm and humid weather for the entire day due to the easterlies. Now, temperatures in Bacolod, Iloilo, and Metro Cebu may reach up to 32 degrees Celsius. As you can see here, similar weather conditions in all of the locations that we are monitoring. But as you go down south, we saw it a while ago, the ITCZ, as you go down to Mindanao in just a bit. And due to the ITCZ, the whole region will experience cloudy skies with rain showers and thunderstorms, particularly in Zamboanga, Cagayan, and Metro Davao. Cagayan de Oro, let's take a look at temperature there, 31 degrees Celsius, with that being the coolest there. Now, despite the rain showers, temperatures in Zamboanga and Davao may still reach up to 32 degrees Celsius. Now, as you can see here, it will be hot in the Mindanao region, so make sure that you do stay cool, hydrated, and safe from the sun whenever you can. Now, let's take a look at the 3-day weather forecast. Another work week again. Welcome to the Monday and welcome to the new week. To help you plan your week, let's take a look at the 3-day weather forecast coming from Pag-asa. In Metro Manila, expect fair weather conditions until Thursday. Now, temperatures this weekend ranges from around 25 to 33 degrees, especially tomorrow in particular might be a bit hotter compared to Wednesday and Thursday. Make sure to bring your umbrellas to protect yourself from the heat and the possible rain showers, especially in the afternoon or the evening. Moving down south to the Queen City of the South, Metro Cebu. The same weather conditions are expected for the next 3 days. As you can see here, lowest possible temperature in Metro Cebu is still at a high of around 27 degrees Celsius is the low and may reach up to 32 degrees Celsius as the high. As you can see over here, similar weather conditions all the way until Thursday. So if you're gonna go out, make sure you wear the appropriate clothing, bring water bottles, stay comfortable, and stay hydrated, folks. Moving on to Metro Davao, again, this is all due to the ITCZ. You can expect cloudy skies with rain showers and thunderstorms for the next 3 days. Possible wet weather, but the temperature is still going to be at a high of around 32 degrees Celsius all the way until Thursday. If possible, stay at home, but if you are going to go out, please make sure that you bring the rain gear with you. Temperatures in Metro Davao starting tomorrow may reach up to 32 degrees Celsius. Again, a lot of rain, but still the weather quite hot in those areas. Up next, I'll speak with Cignal President Rosendo So about the National Rice Awareness Month. Stay tuned. You're watching WeatherHQ.
At BNC, 12 noon doesn't mean break. But breaking news, biggest stories, and latest updates.
The International Monetary Fund urges countries to implement fiscal tightening policy. Authorities raided a pogo hub just hundreds of meters away from the Senate building.
Mai Rodriguez, Newsfeed at noon on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Your newest source of news and information.
That's it?
Follows you everywhere, every day.
Guys, wow.
Oh, man.
On cable and free TV. Online.
He joins us from the Batasan Commercial.
On mobile.
Simulan na natin ang agenda. No Friday.
This is BNC, and we are everywhere.
Welcome back. You're still watching WeatherHQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. November is National Rice Awareness Month. Now, this is to remind us of the food's staple importance, or rather an important role in Filipino culture, and to help promote sustainability in rice production and consumption. Joining us via Zoom is Samahan ng Industriya ng Agrikultura President Rosendo So. Magandang umaga po. Thank you very much for joining us.
Paulo, magandang umaga. Magandang umaga sa lahat.
Sir Rosendo, unang-una, pag-usapan muna natin ang assessment niyo po ng rice supply ng Pilipinas. Where are we on the road to hopefully rice self-sufficiency?
For now, sa tingin natin medyo mahirap, no? Dahil yung climate natin, climate change, yun ang isang problema natin. Secondly is yung tariff reduction will not help the farmers to plant more area.
Mm-hmm.
So nakikita natin yung problema for now.
Well, sir, na-mention nyo nga yung climate change. We'll talk about that later on. But then the history of the Philippines in terms of a rice-producing nation. Dati po, rice exporter tayo. But what has changed? What has gone wrong sa history ng bansa po natin that we've turned from a rice exporter to one of the top grain importers?
Yeah. Kung makita natin yung weather talaga, imagine for the past last month, almost six typhoon ang pumasok. No? So, ako, yung ani ko rin, bumagsak from 150 kaban, it went down to mga 80. So, bumaba yung tonnage, no, na expected harvest. So, yun ang isang malaking problema natin, yung weather condition na pumasok dito sa ating bansa.
And of course, this affects the pricing for sure. How has it affected the prices today? And on average po, how can we get the prices of rice down? Because there was a point during the presidential campaign ni President Bongbong Marcos that there was a goal na 20 pesos per kilo to become the norm. How can that happen? How are the prices affected by the weather? What are we considering po with regards to all of that?
Yeah, Paolo, we have to consider first what happened about the war on Ukraine. No?
Yeah.
That affect the price of inputs, fertilizer, and of course the world market. All countries stocking rice for buffer. Natatakot lahat eh. So yun, nakakontribute yun sa pagtaas ng presyo. Yung 20 pesos na inaano ng ating Pangulo dati, kung siguro hindi nangyari yung pagtaas ng fuel. No? Kasi ang fuel, remember, Paolo, 23, ngayon nasa 56, double the price of 2018 price ng fuel. And of course, yung fertilizer din, ngayon nasa almost 1,000 plus. No? Dati nasa 800. So, almost, umabot pa ng 3,000. So talagang yung inputs dun sa price. So, yung tinitingnan natin yung world market, ang presyo ngayon ng bigas nasa $500 to $600 per metric ton. So, pagka sinasabi natin na 20 pesos na bigas, ang presyo dapat ng world market nasa $220 per metric ton. So, malayo dun sa 500 pesos, almost double. So, mahirap yung presyo na 20 pesos. Yung local din natin, yung production, ibig sabihin nun kung 20 pesos na bigas, is 10 pesos na palay. No? Ang palay is almost 20 pesos. So, malabo talaga yung 20 pesos na bigas for now. Maybe kung nag-stabilize ang international market and price, pwede natin ma-achieve yun.
Sir Rosendo, another thing that has affected the prices, you mentioned it a while ago, medyo nagsa-stockpile na dahil sa crisis in Ukraine, not just the Philippines, of course, other countries as well. There are also people who have tried to take advantage of this opportunity. May mga rice smuggling that we had to be talked about in the past. Has rice smuggling in the Philippines been addressed better as of late in the past few years? Is the government imposing siguro the right taxes to protect local farmers to ensure stable prices dito sa Pilipinas with regard to anong nangyayari externally?
So far, yung smuggling, meron pa rin. No? Kung bumaba, we think na mayroon nag-ship from other entry. No? Pero we don't think na yung tariff reduction did help the smuggling. Kasi tuloy smuggle na pumapasok. And kung makita natin yung tariff cut, hindi talaga nakatulong dun sa retail price ng bigas natin sa merkado. Dahil kung makita natin yung presyo, since July, inaano ng NEDA na bababa ng 29 pesos. Yan nung unang announcement niya, nung pinaperma kay Presidente. No? Sinabi niya na bababa ng 29. Pero kinorek ng Department of Agriculture yan na bababa lang ng 7 pesos. In spite of that, hindi rin bumaba yung presyo dun sa retail. So yung sinasabi ng presidente natin, yung value chain siguro, yun ang dapat tingnan. Dahil yung imported price, kung makita natin yung rice price, no? Hindi dapat ang presyo ngayon ng retail nasa 42 pesos na lang. Pero wala pa rin. Nasa 50 pesos to 60 pa rin ang presyo. So, hindi nakatulog yung pag-cut ng tariff.
So, Rizondo, we've seen throughout the past few weeks, the past few months, how agriculture has been affected by the multiple storms hitting the country. You take a look at the government support with regard to the recovery, with regard to yung relief efforts, and of course, trying to fill in that gap of crops lost due to a disaster. Just how would you rate yung government response po?
Yeah, Paolo, kung makita natin yung support ng ating government talagang buhos sa agriculture, no? Wala akong masabi na negative dun sa pagtulong ng ating Pangulo and of course si Secretary Kiko Laurel na talagang umikot, no? The other day, nasa Pampanga sila, punta sila sa Isabela and puntang Pangasinan. So talagang tinutukan nila ang ating local farmer. Ang problema talaga, yung calamity na pumasok malaki, no? And hirap talaga ang ating government to help na 100%. But yung crop insurance na sinasabi ng ating Pangulo and ang ating DA Secretary ay dapat sundan, no? Na dapat yung mga magsasaka. And this, it can help to minimize the losses from our farmers.
President Rosondo, obviously you are part of a group that is advocating for agriculture. You're part of a group that is affected by climate change, affected by all of these issues coming from government policy, coming from external issues. What are the projects your organization is trying to push for the most? What are the concerns that you feel need to be prioritized with regard to the overall health of yung agriculture natin dito sa Pilipinas?
Yeah, Paolo, ang ano natin is modernization pa rin. Mm-hmm. And of course, we want to see how other countries produce rice in their country. Kaya pupunta tayo sa grassroots communication with our farmers and of course inibita tayo sa other countries, no? Like China or province, no? And looking for their production, and we will be having exchange sa farmers production side para makita natin yung production nila doon compared dito sa ating bansa. And of course, hindi lang yung price ang tinitingnan natin, pati yung swine pinunta in Vietnam to see their vaccination. So, tuloy-tuloy yung ano natin to reach out our local farmers and hopefully to learn from other countries para at least lumakas ang ating production.
So, Rosondo, just before I let you go, you mentioned the modernization. Just for a quick last question here, how far behind are we in terms of modernizing and keeping in pace with the other global producers?
So far, we are on the track, no, sa modernization. Kung makita mo yung rice tariffication law, we really help to mechanize our farmers. Yung mga iba nga sabi, di ba, yung labor part, sinasabing nawala yung mga naka-harvest na magsasaka. Pero may ibang trabaho na pwedeng gawin. Na in which kung yung harvest natin dati umabot ng 2 months, ganun. No? Ngayon, ang bilis. Within 15 days, kayang i-harvest yung crop natin. Yung damage, lumiit, no? Dahil kung wala yung ganong kabilis na harvest, siguro mas malaki pa yung losses natin.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much for joining us this morning and educating us on the agriculture sector here in the Philippines. Once again, that is CINAG President Rosendo So. Maraming salamat po. After the break, we'll have the global weather. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
To BNC's Election 2025 Special Coverage.
Ito po si Father Nono.
Ako po si Father Fiel Pareha.
Ako si Risa Singson Kaupeng.
Kape at pandasal na po tayo. Ito po si Cardinal Chito Tagle.
Let's take a look at the global weather here on WeatherHQ on BNC. Storm Bert battered the United Kingdom and Ireland with snow, rain, and strong winds on Saturday, killing one person and closing several railway lines, bridges, and roads. Local police said that a man in his 60s died after a tree fell on a car on the highway in southern England. The runway at the Newcastle Airport in northeast England was covered in snow, briefly disrupting flights. Floods in Pontypridd near Cardiff left residents battling high water levels and volunteering to clear water from the homes using buckets. In Hebden Bridge, West Yorkshire, firefighters worked to reopen a major road by pumping floodwaters back into the local river. In Scotland, the Severn Bridge, which connects Wales to England, was covered in snow and shut down due to strong winds. Morning after the storm Bert rolled through parts of the United Kingdom. In Ireland, heavy rains led to flooding in parts of the west coast, making some roads impassable. Due to high winds, 60,000 homes, farms, and businesses were affected by power outages. Met Office Chief Meteorologist Jason Kelly termed the storm a, quote, multi-hazard event, saying that it was expected to bring snow, rain, and wind to Britain for most of the weekend. Heavy rainfall in Bolivia on Saturday night caused the Pasajahuira River to overflow, flooding the neighborhood of Bajo Llojeta on the outskirts of La Paz, leaving many people trapped in their homes awaiting rescue teams. Municipal President Julieta Clavijo told Reuters there was screaming and terrible desperation. She added that a 4-year-old girl was missing and people had to leave their houses through their roofs because there was no other way to get out because the mud was already too deep. Civil Defense Vice Minister Juan Carlos Calvi-Montes confirmed that rescue teams were searching for the young girl. According to local authorities, at least 26 people have been injured and more than 40 houses damaged by the flood, and 300 military personnel were deployed to help evacuate residents and clean up the area. Heavy rainfall and harsh winter weather are severely impacting Gaza's displaced population, with many living in inadequate tents. Following the conflict that began in October 2022, around 2.3 million people in Gaza have been displaced multiple times. Flooding has damaged hundreds of poorly constructed tents, spoiling food and personal belongings. The Palestinian Civil Emergency Service reports that thousands are affected by seasonal flooding and urgently need new tents and caravans for shelter. As winter approaches, residents, many of whom are already living in makeshift homes using debris, face the threats of cold temperatures, which can drop to around 6 degrees Celsius. And that's WeatherHQ for today. Join me again tomorrow, whatever the weather, here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Have a great morning.